much.
Yeah, but you open your eyes, right?
If you want to, I'm a goggles kind of man, but
you do look like a goggles type of guy. All right, good. All right, you want to talk a little MetroLink because all sorts of controversy going on with the MetroLink because one was safety, one was free rides, and the other one is are police able to actually write a ticket on the MetroLink? What's going on here?
Yeah, that's right. So what we've seen in the news, McGraw, we've seen crime. We see all these high-profile crimes that go on the MetroLink. Overall, crime is relatively up on the MetroLink compared to previous years, but the number of tickets that are being written to address fare violations, these crimes in general, they're going way down. And we've seen the issue is that MetroLink's officers or security have not been able to write tickets because there's been this sort of administrative issue with who can write tickets, whether it's the police or MetroLink. And what we've seen is a lot of finger pointing. And instead of spending some money to try to settle things out, stop pushing the blame and just sort of fix the problem, what we're going to do is spend close to $4 million to study the problem to see what we should do to fix it.
All right, hold on a second. Because the problem is, if you're a city police officer and you're on the MetroLink, and then the MetroLink, you're riding the MetroLink and you're in the county, can a city police officer write a ticket in the county on MetroLink?
So how there's county patrols, there's cities patrols, and then there's folks, they do it in Illinois too. So the local police jurisdictions patrol only certain parts of it, and they'll get on and get off. But the issue is, was that MetroLink security have been using tickets with a certain number on it that the FBI uses to compile crime stats and whatnot. Okay. And they've been using the county's tickets. And the county said, in late 2015, you've got to stop using our tickets. Metro tried to go get their own tickets. They couldn't get them. And now just the other day, the city said, you can use ours. You can write tickets in the city. But in the county, Metro personnel still can't write tickets. And so the thing is kind of crazy, right? The thing's been up for 20 years. They've spent billions and billions of dollars. They just raised sales taxes to expand it.
Right.
And they can't figure out how to enforce fare violations, how to write somebody a ticket for, committing a crime on the train. And unfortunately, policymakers are pointing fingers. And
so why is a study going to cost $4 million?
That's the question, right? The $4 million question. It's we get federal grants, we get by state's got a lot of money, and it's really easy to pour some money on a problem. A consultant says this is what we should do, and it gives folks some cover to say, hey, we're just going to do what the study says, and it's going to cost you $500 million to implement it. Instead of coming up with, say, what, we need to pay some more security personnel. We could have used this $4 million for that. We could have started implementing some turnstiles or barriers or something like that. To address the problem. Right. No, we're going to study it for the upteenth time.
Right, but let's talk about fare violations for a second, because I know this is a sticks in a lot of people's craws. To make it a closed system, you'd have to spend billions, right? Because you have to close every single stop and put a fence up and then put turnstiles in and then put some type of automated system in there. It would cost a fortune, would it not?
Yeah, a part of the study, originally when they built the system, they looked at this and they said, hey, the benefits don't outweigh the costs, and so we're not going to do it. They want to attract more ridership, so they leave it open.
Right.
And so they said, we're not going to do it. And I think now more and more people say, hey, whatever the safety benefits are, we want them.
Right.
And there's public pressure to close off the system. The county executive has says he wants a closed system.
Right.
And folks want to do something. And this study, the $4 million study, is going to tell them how much it's going to cost. Right. I'm sure it's going to be a fortune, but
right. But if they were to sort of promote the fact that they had fare checkers, right? We're not going to spend billions to close the system. We're going to do more to have fare checkers to come along and check your ticket, right? That would then deter people from saying, I'm going to save $3 on this, but I'm going to get charged a $100 ticket. I just might as well buy a fare.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what the idea is with an honor system is that
because there are other honor systems around the country that are working just fine.
Yeah. I was actually just in Europe. I was riding a train, and we bought $50 tickets, and nobody came around to check it. And I said, "Damn, I shouldn't have spent 50 euros on that ticket." The next train we were on, it was a $3 ticket, and of course there were people checking tickets. So the idea is that Exactly. You buy a ticket,
Right.
and that might be the solution that doesn't cost hundreds of millions of dollars.
Right.
Is have some more personnel on there that show folks that you can't just hop on, hop off,
Right.
however you please, and conduct whatever sort of shady business you want to on there.
Right. I mean, people buy fishing license and hunting license because if you're caught hunting or fishing without a license, that's a really bad fine. So you say, I'm going to go the extra mile and do the right thing.
Yeah, absolutely, and it makes too much sense. And unfortunately, right now, 20 years after MetroLink's been around, we just sort of in the news we saw they had a general agreement on who can write tickets and why, and this thing has been around. It makes so much sense to do what you're saying, McGraw, and yet here we are, and we're spending $4 million to study the issue. We have a pretty good idea what the solution is,
right.
And it just makes you really wonder, what is this? What's going on?
Where can we read more, Graham?
ShowMeInstitute.org, and I will say, I was recently promoted to policy analyst, not researcher.
Policy analyst.
Just happened last week.
So you didn't want a raise; you wanted a better title.
You know what? I'll take either one I can get. So,
policy analyst. The other problem is, and I haven't read the MetroLink in a while, but their change machine only had change for a 10.
Oh.
And I was like, I've only got 20s, right? Yeah, I didn't have a 10,
Yeah.
so I couldn't buy a ticket because they only had change for a 10.
And so you didn't ride, of course.
No, I went into a store and bought a stick of gum and got the change, and then did that whole night.
That's what the Good Samaritan would have done.
All right, Graham, have a good 4th.
Hey, thank you much, McGraw.
8:47. We'll talk to Pat Blassie next on the Big 550.